welcome back to my podcast, The Progressive Mindset, a show and a place that is positive, offers inspiration and is full of energy. I'm your host, Natalie Potts, and today I'm going to be talking all around knowing your strengths. And this is really, really important because I know for myself and my own coaching journey that naturally feedback kind of accentuates our weaknesses. And performance reviews often focus so much on opportunities to improve, and multiple studies show that people pay attention to negative information. But there has to be a point where I would challenge this and say that we need to focus more on our strengths. And I truly know the benefit this has made in my own focus, in my own development, and my growth as a person. So it's not surprising when we ask somebody to recall an emotional event that people often remember 4 negative memories for every 1 positive. So I'm going to say that again because I want to put emphasis here that when we ask someone to recall an emotional event, they will often remember 4 negative memories for every 1 positive. So amazing, isn't it? It's crazy to think in that way. So I'm not suggesting here that constructive feedback doesn't have its place, because of course it does. And it was a study by Up Organisation who looks at focusing on strengths by Marcus Buckenberg and Donald Clifton, if you want to go and have a look at it, emphasising the paradox of the human psychology. And whilst people remember criticism, they respond to praise. So giving praise to someone, it produces confidence and a desire to want to perform better. And it doesn't pretend to ignore or deny any problems. It rather looks at separating and creating unique feedback experiences that counterbalances the negative input. So really, really interesting. And I just love psychology and looking at personality styles. And there's a variety of personality tests that have been measured by psychologists since the 1930s. And all it is around is striving to get a better understanding in creating a way to measure personality. And now I know from a corporate background that most people that are kind of very dominant in style, leaders, really want to focus on those bottom lines. And they will measure or want to measure every single KPI they can. So there's loads out there. There's Myers-Briggs, which I've done myself, which looks at kind of Carl Jung's theory. And there is DISC, and that's what I'm going to be focusing on. And this is about developing a sense of personal best to increase your future potential. And often where people focus on their positive attributes, such as resilience and trust, that actually serves the businesses to achieve their bottom line. And it's really, really interesting. And I don't think enough corporates really understand what this means to them and the benefit that it can have. So let's be clear, though, because often I think people think this is a bit of woo-woo, or it's, kind of rosy tinted stuff we can be doing. But it's not. And it's not about soothing your ego. It is often sometimes useful to take a step back and look at things. And that's always what I'm doing with clients with coaching, is just slowing things down and saying, let's just rein it back a few, take a step back, see things from a different perspective, do that bird's eye view and just really break things down. Let's get those stepping stones in place. So these kind of personality tools are designed to assist you in development planning. And then this is around taking more effective action. So this is why when I introduce my clients, I always really tend to, depending how they want to work with me, get them focusing on doing a DISC questionnaire right at the start of our relationship together. And it helps me understand exactly how they want to be treated. And I think that's really important to focus on here, because a coach's role is to empower others. We aren't telling them what to do. We aren't teaching them things. Those two are exactly that, teaching and mentoring. Coaching is about empowering others and creating stepping stones and breaking down their goals. And ultimately, underpinning all of that is holding them to account to their actions along the whole of their journey, aka the coaching experience. So what is DISC? So DISC actually stands for certain styles, which I'll come to you later. But it's a non-judgment tool by psychologist Dr William Marston. who used this for discussion of people's behavioural differences by participating in a series of questions that then produce a detailed report to understand your personality and behaviour, and also understands how you relate with others of different styles in a range of normal behaviours. And I love this. So when I do DESC, I will get the client to complete the questionnaire, and then we'll jump on a call after and kind of cool coaching session as well, because we will look at getting some actions at the end of it, and that's really key. Making sure they're smart, so therefore it becomes coaching. And they always love the way that they start to look at the fact that it draws what their dominant style is, but then how to work and get the best out of others in their worlds, and through their personality type. So again, really interesting, and it just shows it's more than just about looking at strengths here. So I often say it provides a common language that people can use to better understand themselves, but also heighten their self-awareness and then be adaptable. So this works really well in a work-based scenario or sales team, very much, of course, if you're leading a team, or relationships as well. And the amount of clients that say to me, I really recognise now why my partner gets really annoyed when I do that, or I recognise that in my partner and I can understand that a bit better now. So I love that element, in that it's not just about looking at how this serves in business, but actually all of our relationships. And it can also serve in supporting, businesses on a hiring process or the promotion process, and teams. So I've worked with leadership teams before, and it's become apparent sometimes when teams aren't working well or they aren't resonating, getting that team ethos. And it's simply because often there's quite a lot, often more dominant styles within, maybe, say, if you're in a room. So taking a step back and using DISC in teams is so useful, because you want to highlight everybody's strengths, but you want everybody to be almost, if you were picking a team, or if you're taking somebody on board to work for you as well. This is again why I've worked with clients. They're like, I could really use this in my business to know who I want to employ to work with me, because I don't want another me. I need someone that is analytical, that gets into the detail. That isn't me. So it offers so many ways of helping us on a variety of platforms and, business and life. So I guess it always comes down to the fact, and people ask me, well, what is DISC? And it's kind of like, well, I really need to highlight this. The same as some people ask, well, what is coaching? Or I have to feel that at times I have to get out actually what coaching really, really is. But who wouldn't want to increase their self-knowledge of themselves, know how to respond to conflict, what causes you to get stressed, and how to best solve those problems? One of the great parts of the report is that it generates 3 graphs. And one of the graphs is about looking at how you see yourself, your self-perception. The second graph is looking about public perception, so how you think you come across with others. And the third one to really draw on is how you perform, or how you are personality-wise, when you're under stress and tension. So again, that can really, really help to see, do you start to change? And this isn't about there's no secrets for this. It's not tricks. It's just literally saying how you would perform under each. And I guess I have been in myself a position where I've able to see the difference it's made. And I see that it's accelerated my growth just because it's heightened my self-awareness of myself and how I react. So where I used to perhaps be I am very confident, but maybe just to break this down and give an example, if I was under stress or tension, I kind of want to, like, leave me to myself, let me get on with it, and just let me be in my moment. Whereas actually, when you're leading a team, that doesn't really work. That's not great leadership. So you need to have confidence. You need to have that, I call it swan, where your demeanor is that you are graceful above the water, and then underneath you kind of, or you could say duck or swan, but you're kind of got that momentum and you're panicking and it's all inside. So knowing that actually a better thing for me to do is to go for a walk, or just say, just give me a moment, or go and get a cup of tea or a gin, whatever it is. It's me knowing how I need to be better in that situation for others and myself. So you can see there as an example, hopefully, that's definitely a way that I've become more self-aware. And of course, this is always ever growing. So once the clients have completed the DISC profile, it takes about 7 to 10 minutes. Again, that's a question I always get asked, how long does it take? I find there's kind of two things that happen. Either one client will be kind of, oh my God, that was like, my mum wrote that, right? Or that was a complete aha moment. And just this pure excitement, absolute energy. And then you sometimes get some people, and of course, no judgment here at all. We're all different. Again, that's what makes us unique. You get those people that are like, well, yeah, I knew all of that. And they can be quite challenging when you're sitting on the other side of the coaching call and you're like, oh, okay. But no, you literally say, okay, well, that's great, isn't it? So how does that help you? What does that tell you? What do you want to focus on? What do you take that was really great about that? What wasn't as great for you? And I always say to people in this that don't just get hooked up that everything is you. They are 95 to 100% bang on accurate. But don't kind of just think that just because it says it, I have to attach myself to that. If you think there's something and it's like, well, I'm not sure what that means to me yet, or I didn't know I showed up like that, then just take it away or park it or, reflect on it and think, well, what does that mean to you? It's, don't judge that about yourself. Just maybe go out and get some feedback. Do you notice this in me? Have I not noticed it myself? It's all interesting and it's all learning that you need to take away. So you definitely get those two types of characters. And of course, like I said, there's no right or wrong here. And there isn't any secrets to be revealed. So sometimes I'll say that to people at the start, if I have an assumption, although you shouldn't assume as a coach, but if I feel that may be something that is on their mind, I'll kind of just give that clarity. And just that helps bring confidence in what they're about to do as well. But either way, this brings, again, confidence in knowing what you are great at. So what does it measure? It measures your tendencies and preferences and your patterns of behaviour. So it's not about measuring mental health. There's no intelligence test here. It's not looking into your values, that they're your own, but behaviour in various situations and environments. And again, I'll let you into a little bit of a insight. I did this years ago when I started coaching, like about 4 or 5 years ago, on one of my first accelerator days of the Coaching Academy. And then I did it as when I wanted to become accredited in being able to do DISC with my clients. And I changed my style, not massively, but I definitely changed. And when I reflected on that, I thought, what's changed? And definitely the environments, I am a very different person in some ways to maybe that time. I've gone on a massive growth journey. And I guess sometimes different experiences in life shape you. So remember, I always say to clients, it's a moment in time. And again, that's where you can't get attached that if it's not what you thought it was going to be, and I don't think it would disappoint you, but if it makes you think, oh, I'm not sure what that means at the moment, don't see it as a negative. Again, just think, okay, well, let's look at that. Let's trust it and go with it. And again, that's a lot of coaching, is go with the process, trust the process. Very similar to all journeys you go on with coaching, whether it's you're going on a fitness journey yourself, you have to trust the process. It's really important. It's very hard, but you do. So it asks you about how you respond to your challenges, influence others, looking at rules, procedures, and often your just preferred pace of activity. And the report generates your style. Okay, so that's what I will share with people. And it'll be the behaviour, which is your highest score, which is your most dominant style. And the lowest is your least dominant style. So you may discover that the score changes when you're under pressure. And again, that's why I said it's that kind of environment, moment in time of when you would conduct the test. So everyone has the ability to have higher or lower styles depending on your circumstances. So what do they stand for? Let's go through the styles. The D is about dominant, and Ds are people who like to take action. Their strengths are that they want to get results, they are outgoing, they are task focused with a decision-making style of being very fast and decisive. Their biggest fear is being taken advantage of or failure of loss. But they're also very motivated by challenge, power, and authority. So I'm pretty sure that whilst I say those few lines, you can instantly think of someone that is a dominant in their personality. Then the I stands for influencing, which is people with strengths in being positive, enthusiastic, and optimistic. They love interaction with people. They are persuaded by others at times or quite influenced. They're very, very outgoing and people orientated, with a decision-making style of preferring to have options. Their biggest fear is rejection, and they are motivated really by recognition, praise, and feeling a sense of popularity. S stands for steady and people who like to maintain the status quo. Their strengths are patience and being people orientated. Their biggest fear is any confrontation. They don't like change and they don't want a loss of security. So I guess you can start to see here that they are actually naturally motivated by security and having that in place, harmony, and, adjusting to change, being at their timely pace. So that draws a bit on why it says, looks at how you are influenced, persuade others, and kind of the pace that you like to go at. And C stands for compliant. And these are people whose strengths are really into the detail. So standards, following procedures, making sure things are done right, dot the I's, cross the T's, people and task orientated. Okay, so these are your C's. And their biggest fear is that they're being criticised without any validation. And I can be a strong C at points in some things. I definitely know that about myself. I guess I look at discs where I do it now. I'll think, I'm being a this, I'm being a that, because it kind of becomes ingrained. And I definitely know that I can do that at times. But they are very, very motivated by the ways of working, precision, and the time to analyse the kind of data. And, they don't want any criticism without validation. So, example, sometimes I know I go around and say, well, what evidence do you have for that? Again, I have been told I can do that quite well as a coach, that I'll suddenly spin something back on someone if I'm put in a scenario. So, yeah, that takes time, I'm sure. So some people will be, as I said at the start, will be one dominant style, whereas others have a combinations, and that's what we call a blend. So I guess bringing it to a close today, because it's one of those things that, I think it's a snapshot. It's just, let's talk about it. But again, it's like one of those things you've got to go and do. And we've been looking a lot around. I did the Embrace Fear podcast, and I focus a lot around these areas in my own growth and development, and specifically working with clients as well on some focus areas to move them forward. And it might just be we just look at those kind of elements of just fear. And the only way to kind of stop any fear, and lots of people at the moment in the world feel a lot of overwhelm, is to counteract that by taking action. Okay, going and doing something. And I guess even if you're going to go and you're learning, and that's great. But if you do not go and start putting it to action, it doesn't matter how perfect it is. If you do not start doing it, you will not learn quicker, like genuinely. I've noticed this recently where I'm, looking at what tools I can offer for clients and how I can serve them quicker and get them set up and feeling confident from the start of the journey, and just different things. Everybody always, when you're building a business, you want to do different things, don't you? And I might always be saying building a business because, again, everything's always evolving, isn't it? And that's actually what I love about it, because I genuinely love the process and learning on the way. And so, yeah, I think find what it means to you with this. If it's something you're interested in, then, I'd love to help you on it. I know it's about the value of knowing who you are, is that you can then consciously and confidently address this and then modify approach where necessary. And I thought that was a really key and great way to kind of put this across with this. It's not about looking at what you're not great at or the opportunity to improve, but really looking at creating a plan to build on those steps and making those steps smart. So I've come to I say it's the 5th podcast. It's not, right? It's definitely the 6th. but I did a one-off one for the Mental Health Awareness Week, where I spoke on being kind to yourself. So I'm really, really conscious, as a thank you, I said, to celebrate the launch of the podcast, my Progressive Mindset podcast. I'm actually going to offer one listener for the first 5 episodes that leaves me a review, because it shows that they're taking action, they've really listened to it, and taken something away, and I really, truly appreciate that. I will be offering a free Dears profile for leaving a review, and a 30-minute coaching call with myself. So if that sounds like something you'd like to do, you're interested in, then please just leave a review. Share this with people as well. And I always say, even if you take one nugget from it, and I truly believe we can learn something from everything in life and everything that we do, it's just how we choose to see it. Then share it, because it may help someone else more. You may think actually that's something that person needs to focus on, feeling a bit more confident about themselves, or they need to know what they're great at, because all they do is focus on what they're not great at and the negatives, and they then get in that vicious cycle, and it really can be that. And it's about empowering others, and surely that's a great place to be, and people that you'd want in your circle as well around you, and knowing who everyone is to get the best out of them. So I hope that's been of value to you. Thank you for your time as always. Have a great day, have a great week, and thank you.